You're listening to Chameleon Church, biblical antidotes for the modern man. With your host, Allan Aguirre.
Well, hello.
Morning.
Is that your audio? Are you like?
Yeah, the ring.
Are you screaming loud over there?
No.
Hey, we're back.
Yes.
So the girls were up and running.
I know they were great. They were fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of people liked it. They shared their stories. They talked about who they were, and they talked about one of my favorite subjects, Joshua chapter 1, from a woman's perspective.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good. I was, my wife has only done that 3 times. That was right. So she did it we did a show together for Lamb called the Lifestyles of the Messianic, or I don't know, something like that. And Superheroes with Messianic Lifestyle, something like that. I don't know what the title was, but we did that. That was a couple years ago, and then she did a Chameleon Church with me, and then she did one with Safrain. So she's only done that 3 times, like in 2+ years. And you know her. She's always been behind the scenes. She's never been one to. She doesn't like this is not her deal. She said it was
so articulate, though. She really is.
She said it was brutal and nerve-wracking. And I'm like, yeah, well. I remember when I first started doing this, how weird it was that I'm going to talk to nobody and make believe there's people out there. It's like, talk about make believe, and I'm a little scared. It's a little scary how easy it was for me to make this transition. And so my name's Allan Aguirre. You're watching the Chameleon Church Show. This is my co-host Lenny Perata. It is Tuesday, June 8th. We are well into 2021. And I'm coming live and direct to you from the Wasatch Back. And Lenny's coming live to you from Northern California, right?
It's right. Eureka.
Yeah. And, we're just going to, we don't know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about stuff. And eventually the Holy Spirit will go, hey. And we're going to go, hey. And we will bring you that as it happens. But so I wasn't here last week because I was doing it was my 3rd time at the A Rude Awakening Ministries in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, where I did a taping for their Shabbat Night Live, I did 4 40-minute segments. That's a lot of information. I had a great time, and for the last 2, so it's been 2 years since I've been there. I was there. The last time I was there was June 2019, promoting this. I didn't know I was going to do this. Promoting this book, This Thing is Spiritual. And when I talk about this book, This Thing is Spiritual, which is about the spirituality of art from the biblical perspective, I share my testimony. I share my testimony. And apparently, my testimony triggers a lot of people. I don't know why, but it does. It makes people very upset. And when they aired that segment, This Thing is Spiritual, people were writing in live and commenting and saying some really nasty things about me and about Rude Awakening for even airing or having that on their broadcast, that's not very nice. How could my testimony be a bad thing? Look at, I came from this to this, and it pisses everybody off. What is it about these people that makes them so angry about my testimony?
We were talking earlier about just some things of the past, like with Keith Green. Those early days of the Jesus movement pissed everybody off too. they could not handle the simplicity that was behind it, the honesty.
Yeah.
They can't handle honesty.
Yeah.
They wanted to be in a certain mold. And oh my gosh, those early days, there was no pretense. People didn't have pretense about them. They really didn't. They were genuine. And they had no baggage from the past that they could say, well, I learned this from that. It was something visited right then and there by God to them themselves. And you don't see that much. That's what revival is. Born out of revival. You were born out of revival, Alan.
Yeah. It's just sad that something like that would upset people to the extent that it upsets them. And so anyway, they were getting really negative feedback, and they were like, wow, I thought our audience was better than that, or more mature than that. And so it's been 2 years since I was at Rude Awakening, and I wasn't sure if I was going to go back. Obviously, COVID caused people not to do a bunch of stuff. So you have watched me Tuesday mornings for 2 years with a white version of this mug, proudly displaying my Rude Awakening swag. Well, since I've seen this black one, I've wanted one of these. Guess what I came back with? I came back with one of them. I could use 4, but I came back with 1. But this is my proud Rude Awakening black version of this mug. I love this.
Man, their operation was, when you did that walkthrough, was phenomenal. It was like, man, these guys, they have it down to a science.
Yeah. It's a huge facility. I mean, I showed you maybe 40% of it.
Wow.
They've got a whole set of offices. Remember, I don't know if you remember, I open a door and I start walking and I turn around and I leave. There's a whole bunch of offices that on that side of the building that I didn't show. And besides, then there's the kitchen area where we all eat lunch. But then on the other side of the kitchen area is a whole bunch of more cubicles and offices that I didn't show. And they have a warehouse with all their books and DVDs and all their stuff, all their merchandise. So when I was in Ecuador, when I was 18 and I was a missionary in Ecuador, I was working for a company, production house. They were the premier production facility in Quito. They did all the commercials, all the audio for the commercials, or the videos for the commercials. They were the talent brokers. So I was running around with those type of people, and there was a family of musicians, brothers and sisters. And it started with their dad, and then the kids got involved, and they were signed to RCA International. And the youngest was a girl, and she was maybe a year or two older than me. So we got to know each other. I mean, there was nothing inappropriate. We were just friends. I say that because everybody was freaking out about it. But anyway, so I would go and visit their house. Well, so what happened was I ended up healing her backstage at one of our rehearsals, because we were doing a bunch of different productions, and I was playing drums and percussion, and she was singing with her brothers. And so we were backstage, and she was in pain, and I prayed for her, and she got healed. And then her brothers came over to beat me up. Her older brothers came over to beat me up because I was a warlock. Brujo, or I don't know how do you say bruja is Spanish for witch. I don't know how you say warlock, but they accused me of being a witch for healing her backstage. And she was like, no, it's okay. He didn't do anything wrong, And so after calming down her 2 or 3 of her brothers, because there were about 5-6 family singing group, she was healed. And so they actually asked me, will you come to our house and heal our mother? I'm like, sure. So I went to their house, and they brought me into the room to their mother's room, and she was sick, and I laid hands on her and I prayed for her. And about half an hour later, she got up, came out of the room, and made us breakfast.
That's amazing.
And they were like, oh my God, what is going on with this guy? And I explained it to them. I'm just a Christian. I'm a charismatic Christian, and we do the Jesus thing. And you've read about this in your Bible. But anyway, I say all that to say this, and so like I would be so I started hanging out at their house because I was welcomed. I mean, the family loved me, obviously, and this is how you do it. This is how you do it. So anyway, so I was hanging out. I was over there for lunch, and as we were hanging out, a TV commercial came on for jeans. I'm playing the drums on the audio, and she's the girl in the jeans in the commercial. So it's kind of weird, right? I mean, but that's yeah. And all this to say that the company I was working for, they were housed in a big old mansion. So the recording studios and the video studios were downstairs, and then on the main floor were like the conference rooms and offices, and I remember all the like 6 drafting tables, because this is 1982, so there's not a whole lot of computers being used for this stuff, and all the digital graphic designers and all the copywriters were in different, so big bedrooms in this mansion were utilized for offices where they would put 2, 4, 6 people in each room to work, and then upstairs in the big bedrooms upstairs were all the offices for all the executives and the sales and stuff like that. So you had this 3-floor mansion that was this production house. And the kitchen was a functioning kitchen, and you had a chef and a couple ladies. So there was like the kitchen crew was at least 3 people. And they had this going on, and they were the premier production house in Quito, Ecuador. So they did it all for the entire country and for other places in South America. Video, audio, graphic design, traditional design work, all that stuff, copywriting. And I worked for them, and I remember thinking this is a great model of a production house. And I've done it to some extent, one way, in one shape or another. I've done that throughout my life. Whether I've done it not all in one. So I've done the video, graphic design, web thing. I've done that without the music, and then I've done the music piece with a commercial recording studio with some design, but without, what I'm saying? I haven't put all of those 3 or 4 things in one room. I've done 2 or 3 of those 4 or 5 things separately and at various times. I'd love to. So that's why I say right now, so a lot of people don't know this because I don't really talk about it, but in 2008, when the Lord told me to shut down my very successful ad agency, the Riley Agency, when he told me to shut that down and start Ministries Walking and go back into full-time music ministry, there was a friend of mine prophesied over me that he saw me surrounded by thousands of books, teaching tapes, and CDs, the music CDs and all that. So when I wrote The Feast Unlocked, I entered into that. It took 10 years. In 10 years later, I started walking in that prophecy because I had books now. I think I've said that I think this live streaming thing that we do, whether it's this show, we've been doing this for 3 years, or 2-Minute Warning, or the Monday Night Exodus to Ingathering, I think that's what the teaching tapes is, right? And then the audio obviously is the audio, and then the books are the books. But yeah,
It's coming full circle.
interesting stuff.
I can see you doing that. When you were walking through that, there was just like you were like walking on air, and just to see your face, it was amazing. I'm going, look at that. I was showing Linda. She's going, look at, he looks so happy.
I'm in my element, I mean,
yeah, it is.
They've got the full. They have the whole enchilada going there. Well, they're missing one piece, and that's the recording studio. I have the recording studio over there. I have the recording studio. Bringing in the recording studio and what we're doing here, but on a bigger stage, because you saw the stage, right? We can do that. We can do that. We can do pre-recorded. We could do live. with two or three different sets for the two or three different whatever, right? I think the Chameleon Church show should look a certain way. The Exodus in Gathering should look a certain way. And the 2 Minute Warning should look a certain way. But that's three different sets. Plus you have the recording studio. We do the graphic design. We have the graphic design piece. We have the graphic design for web and print piece. We've got the recording studio piece, and we've got the TV station piece. We're doing it right now. We've got the lights, we've got the cameras. That's
it's interesting because of all the different type of on-air, for better word, messianic teachings. They probably have the most progressive and up-to-date, modern-looking facilities, right? But you're right. There's no music behind it, and that's what hits our generation or our old generation. That's the one, and it's missing across the board on all of them.
Yeah.
There's great Torah teachers, but there's no art behind it.
Right. Well, unlike the majority of those people that are doing the books and the Messianic live stream, they don't have the music piece. We're pretty fortunate to have, we have a piece most people don't have. It's pretty exciting. Yeah.
I can really see how that's a missing piece. Yes.
Yeah.
But and when we were talking about earlier too, it's just that about you and how the Lord brought you to that place of being anointed with his power is because of the honesty more than anything else. And that's something that today is really, really missing on the whole Christian scene. And not to bash it or anything, but just to say the fact that they're always trying to recreate over and over to get the same result. And they're missing the simplicity and the honesty and the breakthrough of the voice of God in their midst. I've been thinking a lot about that lately.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
So what else? Hey, be sure to like. If you're on Facebook, be sure to like. Be sure to follow. If you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Hit that little bell. Leave a comment. Just be sure to do all that social media stuff.
I was thinking about you yesterday because all over the news it was all about Guatemala.
I know, wasn't that?
And how our vice president was visiting Guatemala, and what a disaster that was.
I love those signs that they had. People had signs saying, "Hey, Trump won, go home," and then the president told her to put her mask on or something like that. Why wasn't she wearing a mask? What happened to the science?
Yeah.
Well, she's fully vaxxed. They're telling fully vaxxed people to wear masks. She's breaking the rules.
Wow, they're chasing the tail of Fauci every day now. Something's coming up. And they're trying to defend him, but I don't see how he's going to wheel his way out of this one. I really don't. He's busted. And she's busted too. She went down there and said, "Don't come," when her boss said, "Everybody comes." And they said, "Yeah, but why don't you give us the resources so we can build our countries back up?" And she was silent with a smile, like she always is.
I don't trust those people.
I know. You could see the disdain on the president of Guatemala's face. It was real obvious.
A lot of other countries see what's going on here, and the majority, a big part of the people here are actually blind to what's going on here. We probably shouldn't say anymore because it's...
Yes. It's getting to... I understand. Yep.
Unlike most people, unlike many people, I actually lived in the third world, and I was behind the scenes in third world politics. I don't talk about that. I've seen it. I have seen third world politics from the inside, from behind the scenes, at one of the most craziest moments in Central American history. I was there. So you can tell me all you want, but you weren't there. I was physically, literally there. So when what happened in November happened, my wife and I looked at each other and went, "Oh crap, they're actually going to do this thing." So a lot of people don't have anything. They don't have anything on me. They can't.
Yeah, you were there with your uncle.
I was there, man. Yeah. I had a backseat. I had a front row backstage pass. The whole thing, man. It was nuts. I learned a lot, dude. I learned a lot with that whole thing. It was amazing. 3 months in Nicaragua during the third anniversary of the revolution, and running into American socialists from the universities, stateside universities. Some of the biggest Muppets I've ever met were American socialists from the universities, from United States social universities down there.
I know it's not a new thing.
We
think it's a new thing. It's not.
It's not. I've been around it. I was dealing with those idiots in 1982, easily.
Yeah.
No.
It goes back to Roosevelt. All that, the whole socialism, communism thing that's just been masked.
Yeah. So, my daughter's getting married this weekend. We've got the Exodus in Gathering Men's Retreat coming up. When is that? Is that July? What's the date on that? Let's see. Let's see what the calendar says. July 16, 17, and 18. Exodus in Gathering Men's Retreat here in beautiful Wasatch Back, northern Utah. That's gonna be.
Who's the wedding gonna be?
My daughter's wedding?
Yeah, where's that? I just wanted to.
This weekend here.
Is it going to be at your house or?
Yeah.
All right, that's going to be nice.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of crazy because it's yeah. So the Hellermans have arrived. They've been here since Thursday or Friday. They're in town. My daughter, our oldest daughter, and our youngest granddaughter are here from Dallas. They arrived on Saturday. I pick up my mother this evening, and then we got between now and Friday we've got the groom's family members are showing up. We've got our son-in-laws showing up from Dallas tomorrow. My in-laws are here on Friday. Show up on Friday. Yeah.
You got a house full. Wow. You're gonna be one busy man.
I think they said there's it's a small wedding. There's 70 people or something. But still, it's in my backyard.
Yes.
We've warned all the neighbors.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
You live in a nice part of Heber though too, so.
And I'm officiating apparently.
Oh, that'll be great. Walking her down and
yeah, I guess so. And,
turning around and
no, I think Julian's walking her down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be cool.
It'll be awesome.
That'll be really cool.
They're in LA right now with their dad. They come back tomorrow.
Huh?
It was so cute. They left Saturday for LA and they went to Vegas. They spent the night in Vegas. They went to the Circus, but he sent me video. No, he sent me pictures of Tommy's, outside of Tommy's, and then Tommy's chili cheeseburger, and he's like, "Yum!" I'm like, "That's my boy."
Haven't you taught him to bring back 10 and a?
Oh man, I should.
Tell him, teach him, man.
Bring me back a couple.
Bring it to Papa. There you go.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, gotta raise those kids right.
You got that right.
Tommy's baby.
This Friday, I just got a thing on the email from Devorah's Date Tree that said to look for the new moon this Friday, June 11th.
Yeah, the new moon's coming this week. And so just a friendly reminder for those of you we'll let you know if you go to the Chameleon Church Facebook page, we'll do a little new moon visible crescent watch, where you have an opportunity to take a picture of the visible crescent and post it so that everybody knows it's been seen. We do that to help each other out. And then at the same time, don't forget to your first fruits offerings. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Things are good, man. God is good.
You're getting blessed. Wow.
God's good. Yeah, man. Safrain's getting married. So some of you heard her story last week. She's been a single mom for 4 years. Can you believe that?
What a trooper, I tell you.
Yeah, pretty proud of her. I mean, wasn't always pretty. It wasn't always, easy. But she stood firm. You know how many people lose their faith in that situation?
Yep.
And they turn their backs on God, they reject God, they blame God, they curse God, they do all that.
Well, she had a good backup. You and Christina just there for the kids and her. And that's incredible that she had you guys right there.
Yeah.
I know. She's strong. She's one strong lady. And then went on to get her degree and just
stupid.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, with young kids too, Tim says. Yeah, she in 2019 we all got together, as a community. We wrote down what we wanted, what were we contending for and asking the Lord for? What was a goal for 2020? And of course, this is before all the crazy stuff. And her goal was, I want to buy a house with my own money, because they had to sell the house that she had with her ex-husband. And she bought a house in 2020, even in spite of COVID. And she put herself through school, and
it's resourceful. Oh my gosh. And the new guy that looks like that she's with seems like a real gem.
Joseph, yeah, he's we like him. Well, I've always had I've had one eye on him since the very beginning with the kids. How's he gonna deal with kids? He's marrying a woman with 3 kids, and they're not stupid. They're like us. They're vocal. They're not pushovers. You know what I mean? If you know us, you know what we're talking. You know what I'm talking about. If you don't know us, you probably they're not. We raised our kids. We didn't treat our kids like little baby objects. Oh, we didn't do that to our children. We treated our children like human beings from the very beginning. Well, our grandkids have been raised the same way, and so they have personalities. They have good, bad, or indifferent. They're human beings, and we treat them as human beings, and we don't treat them like objects. And so they're allowed to voice. They're allowed to speak. They're allowed to have an opinion. They're allowed to say their piece. Because this is how you teach. This is how you raise. This is how you disciple. This is how you train up a child. And I'm like, how is this guy going to transition into a woman with a woman with 3 kids?
Have you sat down with him and give him the whole Deuteronomy 6 thing?
We've talked. Yeah, we've talked.
Good.
And he's a believer, but a traditional believer. He's always known charismatic is true. He just doesn't have any real reference, but he's not opposed to it. And he's always wondered about the feast and eating clean, and because it's in the Bible, why don't we do it? And so now he's been thrust into a Torah observant, charismatic whirlwind.
That's a learning curve. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's going from 0 to 5,000 with 3 kids. So I've kept one eye on him. I've watched him with the kids. How does he deal with the kids? How does he interact with the kids? and I've watched the kids interact with him, man, and it's pretty special. It's pretty special.
That's really
Kids
cool.
love him. Kids love him. They adore him.
That's really cool. That's awesome. Well, I know it's going to be an incredible time for you and your family. So,
yeah, it's a trip, and it's a trip. It's definitely a trip. It's
again, you're one busy man when I'm looking at you right now. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, I know, and I'm still writing, and I got to finish this book, the second Exodus, the second field manual.
When is that coming out? Pretty soon.
I'm not done with it. So because nobody wanted a gap nobody wanted Monday nights to stop, which is a huge. That's a lot of affirmation and support. I really appreciate that. What we're doing on Monday night is so meaningful to people, and it's so important to people. They were like, do whatever you need to do to make sure Monday night doesn't get, bumped. So they would rather pre-order the book and get fed 4, 6, 8 weeks of content at a time to keep Monday night going than for me to stop everything, finish the book, and then go, okay, here it is in printed form. You know what I'm saying? What the printed piece is taking a back. They've allowed me to put the printed version of it, take a backseat to the Monday night devotional gathering discipleship program that we've developed in the last 60 plus weeks. That's a huge, man. That's so cool. That's pretty rad. Because it does a number of things. One, the content is that rich. It's prophetic. It's that rich. It's that deep. It's that timely, and it's that transformative in these people's lives. Two, when Christina told me in October of 2019, you need to write a devotional, she didn't know I had already been doing research on one. How do you do a devotional? What are devotionals? Because I've never done a devotional. None of my Christian life has been. I've never used a devotional. So how am I to create something I've never even used myself? It just speaks to the reality of this is what we were supposed to do, and we're doing it, and we've been doing it. So they're allowing me to write as I go along, and then I'm feeding people 2, 3, 4 weeks, 4 weeks at a time or whatever. So I'm really behind. I need to write it's so hard to find time to write because I mean, you wouldn't believe what I have to do just today.
Did you get to highlight that at Rude?
Yeah. So at Rude Awakening, we actually discussed the field manuals. And so we discussed how here's the first field manual, and because it's not dated, as far as because these aren't dated devotionals, you can read any devotional as a standalone study, and you can read this entire thing standalone. It's not based on weeks. So it's not like, oh, that's last year's devotional. No. It's not, you know what I'm saying? So because this isn't dated, you can literally read any of this anytime. And this is the first one. And then what's the premise of the first one? The premise of the first one is 1 Corinthians 10, 1 through 12. And then we have a second one, and I made believe I had one because they looked very similar, right? Except for the word. So I had two on the desk, one as a prop. And here's the second one,
Did they grasp just the prophetic understanding of what field manual is? Did they grasp?
We discussed it.
How important it is for the times we're going into these
end
times?
Well, we discussed how this is, a field manual is a military handbook. Yeah. And not only is this a field manual for scriptural warfare, for spiritual warfare, the FM 2622 is the actual legitimate United States military FM for field manual, and 6-22 means this is a leadership guide. This is a leadership manual. It's to create leaders. And so we did discuss how this is based on a military thing, and because we are in a spiritual war. And Paul said, don't be ignorant to this thing that happened to Israel, and it can happen to you. So we discussed all of that, and how the second one that's out now, right? Because this is going to air in October. So the second one better be in print form by October, man. You know what I'm saying? And so we have two of them out. Here's the first one, and here's the premise. And then the second one, here's the premise, covenant culture. So you take what happened in the desert, and now we're walking in the covenant of what happened in the desert. That's the second one. And the one that's coming out this spring, because it's doing, it's Christmas in June, right? Because it'll be out in October. It'll actually air in October. The second one, the third one that's coming out this spring is called The Chosen Path. Right? Whatever the title is. What's the title of it? The Chosen Path of, I don't know, whatever we're calling it, right? That's the third one. And that one's all about everything we're talking about, from the Exodus to ingathering to covenant culture to how do those two things look walking the chosen path? Yeah, walking the chosen path, I think is the name of it. Based on like the Gospels and stuff. And we also pushed the calendar.
I use that every day.
Yeah,
every day.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
so we also pushed the calendar, and I had I had this, and I showed everybody the Traveler's Journal. But we pushed the calendar as well, which means in October we have to so not only we pushed the two of these, and then so we did 4 segments, 4 40-minute segments, which air on 4 weeks, right? And then we did an extra a love gift segment, which is like 35. We went for about 30 or 35 minutes, where it's not going to be aired live. You'll actually have to buy the love gift, whatever it is. Oh, so I'm sorry. The love gift segment, they want to give away a field manual and a calendar as the love gift. So in order to watch the love gift segment, you have to buy the love gift, and they'll have a DVD of the 35-minute segment where we talked about, I can't remember what we talked about, but it was like, it's meatier. You know what I'm saying? It's meatier than what you would see on the 4-week segments, because it's not on the internet. You have to buy it. So it's on a DVD, so we can get a little bit more meatier. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Right. And so as a love gift for, I don't know how much, they want to give away the calendar and the field manual, and this DVD and this extra 35-minute teaching that we did. And so what we'll do is we can give away, I don't know, we can give away the first one or the second one. I'm not sure which one we'll provide for them. But you remember the back of every one of these, right? We started doing this with this. The back of every one of these actually promotes and advertises the other books. So we're going to add it. So we have a feast segment. We're going to add an Exodus to Ingathering section, where it's promoting all the Exodus Ingathering stuff, including the Monday night Bible study, kind of like the postcards we've been sending out, right? So we've got all this. So what does that mean? That means we have to have next year's calendar ready to go by October.
Yikes!
So I've acquired Alyssa. I had a little sit down with Alyssa, and I go, here's all the files. Because see, it's already been made. We have all the files. The template's already there. All we have to do is change the dates. That's all we have to do is change the dates and move the numbers around on the calendar. So she's going to be doing that. So I don't have to do it because I don't have the time. So she's going to actually do the work of creating the new calendar, which literally consists of moving all the dates around. For 20, what is it going to be? April? Because see, a lot of people are, I don't know if I should buy the calendar, Alan. It's June. Yeah, but it's June, but it goes through April of 2022, not December. So you've got 10 months of calendar left. You should buy one. Anyway, so we're going to have the new calendar ready to go in time for Rude. So that we can give them, I don't know how many they want, a few hundred of each. So that's going to be cool. Because see, I wasn't sure how much that we were going to promote the calendar because they have their own calendar. But see, the reason why they bring me back is because a lot of our theology and doctrine and calendar, yeah, Alyssa rocks. A lot of our calendar. You know what? We should have Alyssa on here one of these days, huh?
That'd be good.
I haven't even thought about that. I wonder if she would do it. I'll ask her.
That'd be great.
I'll ask her. A lot of our theology and doctrine coincides with Michael Root's, which is why they've had me on, and why they have me back. And a lot of the way we approach the calendar, they also agree, also coincides with what Rude does. So to them, it's a benefit. So you know how it's a benefit to us when we find someone that agrees with what we believe. It kind of backs you up.
It meshes, yeah, definitely.
So that's the same thing with them. So.
Well, I bought a bunch of them calendars and gave them away. Just when you were on Rude last time, I think I bought 4 sets of the DVDs and passed them out.
Oh, wow.
And they ended up giving them away to other people. Look at this, look at this, look at this. It was breakthrough on what you taught about Sabbath. Just your one-liner. That's all it took.
Wow.
You said something, the one-liner, and bam. It was the one where you said, can you imagine if every mom that your children saw mom and dad lay hands on each other on each Sabbath? That's all it took. That captured a lot of people's hearts.
Wow.
So I can't wait for October to get these out, because I think it's really in line with the fact that what we need for what's coming. Definitely. And speaking of what's coming, do you got your tour to Vernal and all southern Utah laid out for the men's retreat? You going to show them lights in the sky and all that?
Gosh. So the men's retreat, we will. I'm still. So there's a fire ban. We're under like drought conditions. We're under the worst drought conditions in 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So there's a fire ban, which means wherever you go camping, they're like clamping down on fire pits and stuff. So, and Utahns, they love to camp. So there's that going on. So I think we're going to just camp in the backyard.
Okay.
We've been talking about doing that. Yeah. Corn's like totally opposed to it, but it's like, there's a fire ban. So Corn wants to go into the deep Uintas, primitive camping, where we'll actually have to pack in everything. I have no problem with that, except you can't have a fire. And especially they're not going to let you have a fire in the
not
back.
Up there.
Right. So we won't be able to cook and we won't be able to see. That's not going to work. So, but if we do it here, we can do it in the backyard with fire pits. Right. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do Shabbat. And I'm looking at renting or something, a outdoor theater thing, the outdoor theater screen projectors and stuff, apparently you can buy them on the cheap or something. But anyway, I want to get one of those because I am thinking we should, for like Shabbat, after Shabbat on Friday or whatever, we could watch like episode or whatever of The Chosen and break it down and do like Bible studies around like a Chosen episode or something, right?
Oh, that sounds good.
Right.
That really does.
And so we'll do Shabbat, and then on Saturday, we'll do breakfast, and then we'll hit the lake. We'll hit the mountain. We'll go into the mountains and the rivers and the water, the lake. So we'll go on I don't know. We'll go down the Provo Canyon. There's paths along the lake, whether it's river road, or we can do there's all these different walks that we can do alongside the river, and if they want, they can fish. Or we can, there's many things we can do around the river as far as hiking and fishing, as well as boating, kayaking, and fishing in the lake. So we can do a couple of those things on Saturday, right? That's a great day. Great day excursion. Breakfast at camp, at base camp, lunch wherever we are, whether it's the river or the lake. And come back for dinner here at base camp, and hang out, do a Saturday men's thing. Last time we prayed for each other. We did a bunch of Q&A, because they can just pick your brain at that point. And then on Sunday we'll get up early and we'll go to Vernal.
That ought to be fun.
Yeah, so we'll get up early on Sunday and we'll drive down to Vernal, and it's an hour and a half away. So we'll do breakfast, do some sort of breakfast, and then we'll spend the day, most of the day hiking around Vernal, a couple areas, and checking out the petroglyphs and discussing essentially the content that will eventually be my G6 book.
There you go.
And then we'll have lunch out there at the site, because we have a nice little area where we can do our camping, where we're going to go hiking. And then we'll come back Sunday night and hang out, wrap it up. Some people are going to be leaving. Some people are staying. And then on Monday morning, there's a group of us that are going to be driving to Vegas. There's a small group of us that are going to be driving to Vegas, getting Tommies, and probably spend the night, and then coming back. Yeah, Jack in a Box in St. George, and Tommy's in Vegas. What'd you say?
You guys will be all over the map.
Yeah,
that'll be fun. That'll really be fun.
Well, we were going to go. Originally we were going to go to the ICLV. ICLV's having their summer conference that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we go to those. We go all the time. But they hiked up the prices. The prices are like crazy, and all the Airbnb are literally twice as much as any other as previous years. It's like, wait, you've made it cost prohibited for us to go and spend a couple 2 or 3 days in Vegas to go to this conference. There's no way I'm going to pay twice as much for an Airbnb. What? That's insane. But they're doing it. People are just price gouging. It's like, 2021, people are actually leaving their homes and going out and do things. Let's price gouge.
Gas in California is always high. I can't even believe everywhere it's just going through the roof.
Explain to me how the last 4 years we were able to keep gas down under $3, and then all of a sudden we can't. Whose pockets are we lining?
I'll give you one guess. Right now it's all maneuvering with Russia. It really
America.
Is.
What a country.
Yeah, I know. Yikes. Well, June 26th, you're going to get your information on UFOs. So you'll have all that under your belt by that time, which doesn't seem like they're going to have very much anyway. So they're already trying to do the whole denial stuff. Well, it ain't Russia, it ain't China, it ain't America, and it ain't UFOs either. And they're just going back to the same narrative.
You know, when people backpedal and lie, it's because there's something else going on.
Oh yeah.
And 50% of the US population aren't smart enough to see that. They're just not, they're just dumb. You're just dumb sticks. Oh my gosh.
Mm. Yep.
It's weird, huh?
And they're not waking up. They are not waking up right now.
There's a massive slumber out there. There's a blanket of slumber. You know those weighted blankets people wear because the compression blankets. There's a demonic spiritual compression blanket over the earth, or over the earth. Either way, there's a demonic compression blanket wrapped over the earth.
Have you been listening to Lance Wallnau lately?
I literally don't have the time. People send me links to 2-hour videos. I was like,
I saw that.
people send me links to videos that are like 2 hours long. I'm like, you actually have time to watch a 2-hour video on YouTube? Because I don't have the time or the patience. Or give me, if it's 2 or 3 minutes, I'll look at it. But But if you send me if you send me a video that's 2 hours long, I won't watch it. You might want to just tell me what's going on, because anyway, no, I haven't had the time. But he's talking about stuff. What's he talking about?
Well, he's really pushing the narrative for 2022. He says there's just a growing swell that's really on the surface it's silent, but it's not. And
There's so much going on.
Growing.
There is so much going on.
I know. There's just not a lot of vocalization right now. I mean, even from the Christian church.
Oh, well, because the majority of the Christian church is in fear. How many of those young prophets just folded? And I love what Mario Murillo called them idiots. It's like,
yep,
you didn't prophesy incorrectly. The enemy was just given.
Yeah.
And I love Mario Murillo's proof text. You didn't hit the ground enough. You should have kept hitting the ground. If you had kept hitting the ground, it would have been done like that. But because you stopped hitting the ground, now it's going to take longer it's going to take longer. That's the best proof text for what happened. Amazing. But all the young prophets, tail between their legs, started retracting, pedaling backwards. All the older prophets were like, nope.
People don't understand the theology of the fact that when you look at the book of Revelation, not just the saints that are under the altar, but the saints that are on this planet are given that incense to call down judgment on the nations and calling down judgment against the powers and the principalities. So, yeah, we understand God's allowing certain things to happen, but right away everyone just sits down and shuts up. No, you don't. You got to keep fighting. And there will come a point when you get to the last 3.5 years. Yeah. That's a totally different thing. But right now, we are supposed to engage. And at the same time, it's a training to when we really start to see the fly.
When the brownie hits the whirly.
There you go. That's a good metaphor. Right.
I learned that
from say something else, but
I learned that from a New Zealand pastor. I was up in Seattle visiting Chris, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and a New Zealand pastor was speaking, and he said, "When the brownie hits the whirly," and I'm like, "There it is." I got to remember that one. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's very telling that live on this show, October 1st, 2019, God gave me that word about enough, and how we're going to go forward, and we need to go forward in a certain way. And as we go forward, we need to, start adulting. And as we start adulting, right? And then, but the key was if you haven't figured this stuff out by now, you probably aren't going to be able to, because it's going to be too much. There's too much pressure, right? The pressure cooker thing that Lance talked about for years ago. So the gloves are off. I mean, that's what I've been saying. The gloves are off. It's like, this is serious stuff. We really don't have the time to pacify it.
No, those days are gone. They're gone.
I think we've been pacifying. I mean, right? I mean, haven't we been pacifying this stuff for a real long time?
No more making excuses. It's funny how just the religious system, please don't offend me so I don't have to offend you. Are you kidding me? Give me a break. I'm offended at you because you use the terminology idiot. Are you kidding me? Haven't they read the Bible? Haven't they read what what King David said?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I don't want to even go there. It's too offensive.
If you're going to call me out, I have no problem being called out. I mean, I can't fix something if I don't know it's broken. But if you're going to call me out, you need to, if you're going to call me out and not be biblical about it, I'm not listening to you. You have an agenda. If you're calling me out and you don't have an agenda, I will be able to hear you. Because going about stuff unbiblically doesn't help me. And I lose trust, and I'm unable to believe that you're actually hearing from the Lord and that it's the Lord speaking. It's you. And you've been, you have a problem with me, and that's your problem, not mine.
Yeah.
So, but if you come at me biblically, then I know, right? Then I can discern then. See, that's the other thing. I have discernment. So I know when you're coming at me in the flesh, and I know when you're coming at me in the spirit. I'm not going to listen to you if you come at me in the flesh, because why would I do that? If you come at me in the spirit, man, I'm going to listen to you, because I know I am not beyond reproach, and I know that I am not beyond learning, and I know that I'm not beyond change or growth and maturity. And you and I have had our differences in our history, but you've known me since I was 23.
Long time.
Dude, Shondel's birthday's, what's today's date? Today's the 8th, right? Yeah. Shondel's birthday's Thursday. Do you know how old she's going to be?
30 what?
5.
35. She's 1 year under Alex, I think. Yeah. Oh my gosh. They're so big so quick.
So, and I say that because we met Lenny and Linda, his wife, right after Shondel was born. Shondel was a little baby, because we ended up looking, our daughter was manifesting something that I manifested as a child, and that snapped me. It's like, it's one thing for me to walk in disobedience, and it's another thing for you, Christina, to join me in this disobedience. But this little baby is innocent. And so we need to go get our act together. We need to go repent. We need to go find Jesus. We need to change. We need to get back to we need to repent and protect this child. And so we went looking for a church, and we found Lenny's church. Well, we found a vineyard in Burbank, and I remember saying, "There's no vineyard in Burbank," because there hadn't been a vineyard in Burbank up until that point. And then we walked to that church, and God said, "This is where I want you to stay." And so we did. And so that's why I bring it up, because Shondel was a tiny little baby. She was I don't even think she was a year old. I don't remember. She was young. So anyway, Lenny and I have known each other for a very long time, and we have a history, and we've, and it's not always been pleasant. But Lenny will tell you that I am pliable. I am teachable. I'm not a maverick. I don't believe that I am beyond. I don't believe that I have all the answers. Everyone thinks that about me, Lenny. You know that.
I know. You hear God's voice.
Everybody believes that I'm an arrogant SOB that is beyond correction and beyond being spoken to or corrected or any of that. Who would know better than my pastor that married my wife and I? Who would know better than you? You and I have had a relationship for 35 years.
Yeah, I know. I have to operate under those same principles of, if someone comes at me, come with me in the spirit, because I know that I have to be molded by the Spirit of God. I have to hear his voice, and I have to do what's right. But you can tell when people come after you in the flesh. You can tell it so clear.
Yeah. It's not that, here's the thing. It's not that I'm unteachable or uncorrectable. No, it's just that I'm not going to let him up. I'm not going to let a one talent believer speak into my life.
Right.
That's not wisdom. That's not good stewardship. I will not let, unless God tells me to listen to a one talent, and he does say that too. See, you have to know. You have to know when you're supposed to listen and when you're not supposed to listen.
That's right.
And I fear God. See, because most people will see Allan. So you have selective listening. You only listen to those that tell you what you want to hear. Really? You really think that? Then you don't know me. And then because you don't know me, who are you to judge me? You have no relationship. You can't speak into my life. You can't say that about me because you don't know me. And you're predicating that and basing that on your prejudice, because that's what you would do. So don't deflect your crap on me because you don't know me. No, that's not true. I don't only listen to those that tell me what I want to hear. No, that's ridiculous. How is that going to benefit me? How does that keep me from walking in deception? How does that keep me from walking a lie? Well, it wouldn't. It would actually play into that. Well, I fear God. I'm not interested in walking a lie. I'm not interested in doing. If I wanted to do what I wanted to do, I would be a bigger musician than I am now, than I became. Because see, I walked away from my musicianship. I walked away from that lifestyle for my family. Do you think that's what I want? I had one goal since I was 7 years old, and that was to be a rock star, and I was well on my way. And because the right thing to do in God was to step down from that and make sure my family would be intact and I would still be married today, unlike all my peers, the majority of my peers. See, that's not listening to people that tell me what I want to hear. No, that's hearing God and fearing God and submitting to God, even though it was going to cost me a music career that I had wanted since I was 7. See what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But it's so much easier for people to just say that about me and come to those conclusions about me because if Allan's that guy, then I won't have to listen to him. Because if Allan's right, I'm screwed, and Allan can't be right. I don't want Allan to be right. Because if Allan's right, that means I'm wrong. And what I need to do to change is so much, I can't handle it. So I have to demonize Allan so I don't have to listen to him. That's essentially what goes on. It's so weird. Man, I don't have to like you, but if God speaks to me through you, I'm going to submit to the word of God. I'm going to submit to the Spirit of God.
Yep. Here we go.
Crazy. Have we even said anything in the last hour? Of anything of substance? I don't know.
I don't know. I think we have. We've had life issues for people, so.
Yeah, this is
You can tell by their comments, you know.
yeah. So what do you got?
What?
Tell us about something, Lenny.
Oh, just um, again, where my brain goes at. I just finished the Daniel series, and that was really good. You can find it on YouTube, the Branch of Four Runner Ministry channel. I have one more to post that I'm just going to record. It's not going to be a Zoom series, but one of the things that people are still totally unaware of is what's going on in the Middle East and all the posturing right now that we don't even know about. But it is the alliances that are forming between Turkey and Iran right now, not with Russia. Russia's staying out of that, and they're not going to be in there that much as people have always been taught. But what's happening between Turkey and Iran and all those upper nations, they are just making their embattlements. And so is Saudi Arabia and all the rest of them that are tying in with Israel right now. They're just starting to draw the lines. And with the whole presidential election where they want to oust Netanyahu, well, it might not be that easy. There's still some things up in the air where they think he's out, he's not out. Not yet. But there's some real positioning going on in the Middle East that Biden can't even touch. He's beyond the point of being able to touch what God used Trump to put in place. And thank God for that. And yet at the same time, it's the whole bittersweet thing of what has to happen and what needs to happen. So when I look at Biden, when I look at what's going on, yeah, it's affecting us, but it's short term for right now. So it's going to be interesting to see the next 4 months and what transpires just on the whole global scene and the geopolitical scene, which I follow day by day by day.
There's like a false lull going on right now.
Yeah, exactly. You hit it. That is the word. It's just a lull. And there's so many things swirling, the UFOs, this, that, and everything, and they have to be swirling. Guess what? It's all going to hit the fan.
You know what's interesting is how Christians, mainstream Christianity doesn't even understand what this UFO play, how that plays into the narrative.
They don't. Well, I can't wait for your G6 book.
Man, I've got to write that thing, don't I?
Yep.
That one intimidates me. And I think what intimidates me about it is that, so I'm writing the feast book and I'm like, gosh, there's, and I'm doing research for the feast book and I'm like, man, there's so many books out there on this stuff. Why the heck am I writing one? That's like, how many colas are there? How many car companies are there? Why would I start a car company? Why would I start a cola company? Why the heck am I writing a book on the feast when there's so many books out there already on the subject matter?
You know what? Yeah, there's so much right now on G6. It's unbelievable. But you know what I don't hear anybody talking about? Where the focus on the Son of Man meeting the Ancient of Days is, and why he's meeting them, and why he's coming back to destroy the works of all that stuff. And it's like there's a lot of information, let me wow you on this and wow you on that. But where's the Son of Man? Where's the focus again on Yeshua?
There's two things that they miss that I think is the market differentiator of the one I'm going to write.
Yeah.
And G6, what's G6? Maria is asking. Genesis 6. There's three things actually. And one of them I've discussed. The other one I haven't discussed. Well, there's two that we've discussed. There's one that I think is really important that I've never discussed. I actually almost spilled the beans a couple years ago on Rob Skiba's show. And I was like, that's the last guy you tell. He'll run with it. No, he's not. I didn't mean that in a weird way. I mean, don't take that in a weird way because that's not what I mean. But of the 3 points, we've discussed two of them. And one is what you just said about the Ancient of Days, Messiah. The second one I've brought up before, and that's I think I've brought it up on Monday night, and I think I've brought it up on 2-Minute Warning. And that's, if you don't believe G6, you can't do E6.
That's
If you don't believe Genesis 6, if you don't believe or understand Genesis 6, there's no way you will be able to accomplish Ephesians 6. And I think that's a total prophetic connection. I don't, that was downloaded that I got. And there's that piece. But the other piece that I've not discussed, I still won't discuss, because it is the main difference between, just the G6 E6 connection is different than anyone else has written. And even sharing that could ruin it, because someone's going to steal it. You know what I'm saying? But there's another piece that's that's just as important. So I think, even though it's an intimidating subject matter, and everybody and their mother has written it, because even though the Holy Spirit started downloading this information to me in 1986, that's when he started doing all that. I'm a musician, so I started singing about it. I brought this stuff up in my songwriting, real subtly. I wasn't a speaker. I wasn't a writer. So I wasn't doing what Tom Horn did. I wasn't doing what David Flynn was doing, and I wasn't doing what Steve Quayle was doing. I wasn't doing what whatever Mazzola. I can never get his name right.
L.A. Marzulli.
Yeah. And what's the other guy? There's another guy out there too. Someone just sent me one of his links. See what I'm saying? Since I wasn't those guys, since I'm not one of those guys, what's the other guy that everyone talks about? Someone just sent me. Oh, where'd it go? So, where is this guy? I can't find his name, but there's another guy that writes, that everybody knows about, that writes about this stuff. Who is that? Oh,
Not
here
Michael
it is.
Heiser, right?
Chuck Missler.
Chuck Missler, yeah.
So all these guys are pastors, speakers, writers, and so they were the ones releasing the teachings and the books and the radio shows and all that stuff about this subject matter. I'm doing rock and roll. I'm way over here doing rock and roll. I didn't spend 30 or 40 years building up this book / author / speaker ministry. I've only been doing this for 4 years, because I was doing this stuff in the music world, right, for 30 plus years. So they have all the books. Skiba was writing about this stuff a long time ago, right? So there's all these people that have been writing about this stuff and speaking about this and doing YouTube videos and radio shows and all that. I wasn't in that industry. I'm in it now. And so even though it's intimidating, I know the Holy Spirit has given me pieces that they've never written about that are absolutely crucial to the subject matter that they've not been given.
Right. And I understand what you're saying, because what they've had is the wisdom that they had so far. But where we're going is something different. I wrote this quote. It says, "The church that is not conscious of what the term Son of Man is," tie that into your Ancient of Days, "signifies it's not the church at all." And that's what you're doing with discipleship. That's what you're doing with the calendar and the feasts and everything else, because what turns the corner on Gen 6 is that if we recognize those things, those 4 points you're talking about, then you're actually discipling his people to be able to do what they need to do for the times that are coming, and to prepare a people for his coming.
Right. And that's the thing. These guys are talking about all this sensationalism. Whoa, what, right? It's all sensationalism. They're not teaching, they're not telling, when are they teaching us how to prepare or
right,
combat what's coming. I mean, where's that piece? I don't think have they. I don't have have any of them added that.
Well,
piece to
they're missing the
conversation?
prophetic. They're missing the prophetic element that needs to happen with this, and that's that declaration which God's called you to do as a mescaline. Uh-oh, you better watch out those using those kind of words. I'll get you in trouble. Okay.
Yeah. But I would love for the book to come out with a companion documentary.
There you go.
Right. And then, look at the stuff that Skywatch TV's come out with. Look at the stuff. Even the Root stuff that's come out with there's good content out there. There's professional content, Hollywood quality content. I don't know if I can do that. I mean, where's the money going to come from? That takes a bit of a team, cameras, people to shoot. I can only shoot one thing, That's going to take multiple cameras. Computer animation graphics, I know people. See, I know people that do all that. I know these people because I've worked with them, or I know them. But they cost money. Yeah. Look at. Shut up, Tim. Our dad has big storehouses. Yeah, he does. Yep, YouTube took Skywatch TV off. They killed their channel.
I did not know that.
Yep. Aspen sent me a link to it like minutes after it happened. I mean, the minutes after the announcement was made, they made the announcement like hours after they got pulled. Because YouTube can do that. YouTube can delete your channel with all your content. Yeah. But they had a backup, so they've been backing up for the last couple of years. Well, it's past 9:00. Yeah. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave comments, all that groovy internet stuff, and share as well. Let your friends know that we do this. Thank you, Marie. Lenny, you want to pray us out?
Sure.
And we'll call it a day. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks, everybody, for sticking around.
Father, bless everyone that was watching this morning, Lord, and their families. Bless Allan and everything he has to do this weekend, him and Christina.
Thank you.
Just let your spirit fall and your anointing fall on their whole family, Lord. Just bring the joy of the Lord in their midst. And I ask that you continue to bless Chameleon Church, and thank you. Thank you for your love and care for us, Lord. Help us to listen and help us to watch. We ask these things in Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen. So we went around our neighborhood and invited neighbors to the reception if they wanted to come, since we're going to be having a lot of cars here. And, sorry for the inconvenience. You're welcome to come to the reception. If not, here's some popcorn and a free movie pass for Redbox. So you never know. We might have some Mormons. Well, I know we're going to have believers of multiple denominations, non-believers, and now potentially Mormons. And us crazy Aguirres, that's just how we roll.
You're listening to Chameleon Church. Biblical Antidotes for the Modern Man. With your host, Allan Aguirre.
The views and opinions expressed during our broadcasts are solely those of the broadcast producers, hosts, and/or guests, etc., and are not necessarily the views or opinions of the Travelog Network, its sponsors, or affiliates.